Hello people, welcome to our Durag drafting class. Yes, I called it the drafting class because we have to draft on our pattern paper. We are going to do another one, but I just want to take us through what we have here first of all. So when we are drafting another one, at least we'll be familiar with one or two things for better understanding. So first of all, what I did was I marked the length of my durag, which is 24 inches. 24 inches is the length of my durag. Then after marking the length, I came over to this place and I marked 16 inches. This 16 inches I marked here is for the durag cap. This is long because of the durag, some people call it belt. Yeah, the durag belt, because we are definitely going to tie it and it has to be long. So this is 34. Then this is 16. Then for the length, sorry, the width rather, I used 10 inches. So we have length of 34 inches, width of 10 inches. When you get your 10 inches, you come here and you mark your 10 inches. From that point where you get your 10 inches, you come down, you mark your 16 inches. Then you indicate it 16 inches, just so that you would not forget. Then from where you have your 16 inches, you come in by 6 to quarter. It's not up to 6 and a half, 6 to quarter. So yeah, mark your 6 to quarter here. After marking your 6 to quarter, you draw your line. Don't worry, I'm going to illustrate this on a fresh page. You just want to go over it. You draw your line. After drawing this line here, you come up by 8.5 inches. 8.5 inches. Indicate it, 8.5 inches. After indicating the 8.5 inches, we draw our line down to this particular point where we have our 6 to quarter inches. Then we come down to this point. Depending on how wide you want your durag belt to be, this is 3 inches. So you see, 3 inches. When I was done marking my 3 inches, I ruled a straight line to indicate it, so that while I'm cutting, I won't have any issues or I will not make any mistake. Then come up here just to get this curve. Please ignore these birds making noise. Thank you. Just to get this curve. So what I will do now is I will go over to cut it. Yeah, lest I forget, this curve here, we came in by 2 inches. Then this curve down here, we came in by 1 inches. I used my curved ruler to achieve this. I used my curved ruler to achieve this. So now let's go over to the fresh page. Like I promised us, we are going to use a fresh page for our illustration. So now over to our fresh paper. I had to go ahead to pin this side. So first things first, we are working with length 24. I won't start marking from this edge. I will just keep half an inch, half an inch, So I have marked my borderline all the way through. We go ahead and measure 34 inches. You indicate 34 inches. We'll be working with width of 10 inches. We'll come down here. We'll mark our 10 inches. Please watch carefully. If you follow this procedure, you wouldn't have any issues at all. You wouldn't have any issues whatsoever. Let's go over it again. We have our length 34, then we have our width of 10. We'll come here, 10 inches. Then from here we'll go down by 16 inches. 16 inches. Rule a straight line across. Let's go over it again one more time. From here to here, we got our 34 inches. From here to here, we got our 10 inches. Then from where we got our 10 inches, we came forward and then we got 16 inches. Then we'll place it here, 16 inches. From this point where we have our 16 inches, we'll come in by 6 to quarter. Come in by 6 to quarter. 6 to quarter. That's this point. As always, we rule our line. To this point where we have our 6 to quarter inches. We'll hold on for here. Then we'll come down to this point. It depends on how wide you want your durag to be. But for the width of this durag, we are going to be using 3 inches. So we'll come here. And we'll mark 3 inches. As always, we'll rule our line. So we'll measure 3 inches for the length. Now we might want to say, okay, we've measured 3 inches, the curve and everything, that's where we are going to. Then from this point where we measured our 6 to quarter inches, we'll come up here again. Now we are coming up by 8.5. You can choose to come up by 8, whichever, but 8.5 is the standard measurement. So you come up by 8.5, just like this. What next? We rule our lines. To this point where you have your 8.5. So now remember, down here we measure 3 inches. So we'll come up here, measure the same thing. Come up here, measure 3 inches all the way through to the down part of it. Three inches. 3 inches. So now we'll rule our line. So it is time to add our curves. Yay, we are almost there. So here we indicate 8.5. Here we indicate 3 inches all the way through. So now here we are coming in by 1 inch, and here we'll be coming in by 2 inches. You can choose to come in by 2.5. You can choose to come in by 2. Okay, so let's work with 2.5 inches. Good. Please, this part is very important, because if you don't curve it properly, you will not get the accurate curve. So with the help of our ruler, from here we'll make our curve, as you can see. From here too, we get our curve. Try and position it in such a way whereby you will capture it properly. So from here we get our curve. As simple as it is. So from here we have our 2.5 inches. Here we have our 1 inches. This is actually not necessary, but if you want to, you can go ahead. I like to give my Durag this V shape at the end. So instead of leaving it just straight, I'll come here. I'll come here to do the same thing, just to give it that angle, but it is totally optional.